Hello everyone, welcome to another Car Talks. This Car Talks, I want to talk a little bit about mental health. So I've done a few Car Talks and written a few blog posts over the years about my personal struggles with mental health, and particularly panic attacks. And I was talking with my wife the other day, and we were talking about the effects of a panic attack and what a panic attack feels like. And I thought that this would be a good time to kind of explain to others that may not have panic attacks, maybe a spouse or a friend or a family member that you know, that you'd like to explain how a panic attack feels. And sometimes it's pretty hard to explain it in a way that makes them really understand and truly comprehend what a panic attack is. So this is kind of my attempt at that. So whenever I was having the conversation with her, I was trying to explain, well, what does a panic attack feel like? And the best way that I could come up with was that think of a panic attack as a feeling of claustrophobia. At least in my case, a lot of people know what claustrophobia feels like. You're stuck in a very small space that you cannot get out. Even though you really, really, really want to get out of that small space, you are stuck and there's nothing that you can possibly do. So just think of really any situation that you truly want to get out of and you can't. And it's not that you want to get out, just want to get out of it. Think of the feeling of that let's say you think, honestly, sometimes if you think you're going to die, literally you're going to die. You have a gun to your head and you cannot get out of the situation. You cannot move, you cannot go, you cannot do anything. That is at the height of a panic attack. That is what it feels like for me. My brain literally thinks it's going to die, and it is trying everything it can to get out. Not only that, once it gets to the point where your brain thinks you're going to die, you're going to implode. Logically, it makes no sense whatsoever. My left brain, logical brain, knows it's not going to happen. But your emotions take over. Your emotions just control everything there is in your being when this is happening. And what makes it worse is that whenever you have this feeling, your body produces physiological reactions. You physiologically react to it. Your palms get sweaty, you may tremble, you may feel tightness in your chest. And when that happens, your brain processes and it's like a loop. So typical progression is you have the thought of anxiety in your head. You think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a panic attack. This is if you had more than one. So you know what a panic attack feels like, and you're afraid of the panic attack. So you start to have that twinge of, you think of a panic attack, have anxiety, and then you start kind of feeling it build. And if you don't control it, it then leads to feeling of impending doom in some manner. You're going to die, and no matter whatever you do, you cannot get out of it. And it spirals like that. It spirals that feeling, that dread and anxiety in you produces your reaction, physical reaction. You can feel your palms get sweaty, your chest tighten, and then your mind thinks of that reaction, and then it reminds your mind of a panic attack, and then it exacerbates. It goes on and on and on, and you get in this endless loop of worry, reaction, worry, reaction, worry, reaction, worry, reaction, and it just loops over and over and over again until you can manage to rein it in somehow. There's a lot of different things that people recommend that you can do to rein it in. I used to be in the camp of giving myself physical pain, just getting up and doing something else and getting your mind off of it. There's lots of different ways to get rid of it. But what I found is the best thing to do is first get up, get out of the situation you're currently in, begin walking, something of that nature. If you're in bed, wake up, even just get on your phone. And you don't actually try to fight it though. you try to subdue it. And if you're sharing it with your spouse or your friend to let them realize what a panic attack may feel like, they sometimes wonder, well, why did you just all of a sudden get up, or why did you just stop talking to me? Some people don't understand that. They don't see any kind of physical problems with you, and they think that maybe you're rude, or they misunderstand how you're feeling, because right now I could be having a panic attack in the car, and because it's all in my head, you would never know. The only difference you would probably know is I would just get real quiet. I could be having a panic attack just then because it's all in my head. You're all just thinking. So whatever I recommend is, first, do whatever you can, cut off whatever you're doing at the time, regardless of what you're doing. If it's not going to, physically hurt you or someone else, get up and do that, and just do whatever you have to do. First, I really recommend trying to embrace it and just accept it. What I try to think of whenever I have a panic attack is the anxiety is your brain's way of trying to help you in some manner. There's something in your brain that made it think that anxiety was a fix for something. And I try to think of anxiety as a person, as a helpful friend that's just trying to help, and may not be helping in the right way. And I try to really kind of nurture and embrace it and just feel like I'm hugging the anxiety. It sounds kind of foo-foo, but if you're in the moment and you try to really visualize that, it does help. Rather than just trying to fight it and just try to just push it away, it's always better to really embrace the anxiety, to really bring it close to you, and think of it as a person. Think, thank you so much for trying to help me with whatever situation I'm in, but you're not doing a very good job, and be very empathetic to the anxiety. It does sound kind of foo-foo, in the air, kind of pie in the sky stuff, but it's definitely true, at least for me. And whenever you do this and you start to calm down and think that you can get back to life again, if you were in the middle of a conversation, you were talking to somebody, it's always good to be open and honest about what you are dealing with, especially if you have panic disorder. So I don't know if I necessarily have this. I probably still do to some degree because it's still there, but a panic attack turns into a panic disorder when it interrupts your life ongoing. So when you first have a panic attack or two, at that point you're afraid of the panic attack. You're afraid of having another one. For me, I was afraid. I was going to have a panic attack. I first had one in the car when I was 14 years old, just because I had to go to the bathroom really bad. I felt that trap feeling of, I have to go to the bathroom. I can't right now because I'm in the car, but I have to. I can't. I have to. I can't. And that's when the spiral first started happening to me. And it's happened to me off and on over the years in various situations. But then it turned into a panic disorder for me, because I would then avoid situations that I thought would cue a panic attack, which really made no difference. Logically, meant nothing. I was scared to get in the car to go anywhere, because I would be away from a bathroom and I couldn't go immediately when I wanted to. That happened for years and years. I still have I sometimes still have that memory in my head. That's how strong a panic attack is. I still have that anxiety in my head. So you'll see that whenever you begin to develop panic disorder, you start to avoid situations that were similar to when you had the panic attack. I know there's some people that said, well, I had a panic attack in the grocery store, so I'm afraid to go into any grocery stores. Logically, you think that makes no sense whatsoever. And for a spouse, a friend, a family member, you're explaining this to them and saying, I don't want to go to the grocery store, and you don't tell them why you don't want to go to the grocery store, they're just gonna think you're an asshole, because I really want you to go with me to the grocery store. If you're not open and honest with them about your panic attacks or your panic disorders, they're not going to understand. And truthfully, they're probably not going to truly comprehend you whenever you say that you're afraid, here's why. And even if you share this video with them, they're going to realize that they're still not going to comprehend, because honestly, I still don't comprehend. There's no logical reason why you should have a panic attack and why this should happen to your brain. But there's something in my brain and something in millions of other people around this world's brain that cue these panic attacks for whatever reason. There's a lot of ways to do it. We could go in forever about meditation and CBT therapy and medication and all this stuff. But to keep this video, around the 10-minute mark, I do want for you to come away with essentially two things. A panic attack is, number one, something that many of us, we cannot prevent. It's going to just happen regardless of what we do. There are ways to get around it, but if you do need to explain that to someone, I always try to think in metaphors. Try to let your spouse, family member, friend, whatever, convey to them what it feels like, so they can at least try to comprehend how you feel and understand, if you're in some kind of situation like that, to truly help them understand and comprehend what you're going through.